Chodesh Tov, happy new moon. I'd love to teach you a meditation that honors the lunations, but also the cyclical renewal, the lunations that happen within us. The Jewish people in Egypt were given the very first mitzvah, which was to bless the new moon. It was to sanctify the new months through the lunar calendar. And this mitzvah brought the notion of renewal into the world, because whereas sun mentality is sameness, it's the sun rises and sets in the same way every day, the lunar realm is continuous. It is ever changing, ever spiraling upwards. And so this breath practice will be bringing all four phases of the moon through your breath and into your body, into your consciousness, so that you can let the phases transform you. Instead of clutching or gripping at certain places, and that causes suffering, that causes discomfort, rather letting the lunations move you gracefully, letting go and rising up. So for this breath practice, wherever you are is perfectly fine in this moment, and get into a posture that feels steady and safe. I'm sitting on a pillow to raise my hips over the knees, and that helps my torso elongate so I can really lengthen the lobes of the lungs, feeling the spine lengthen, the crown lifting towards the sky. And I invite you to close your eyes if you feel comfortable. And as we close the gates of the eyes, we can more easily tune in to the natural rhythm, the natural cadence and texture of the breath. Beginning to observe the pathway of the breath. So on the inhale, notice where in the body it enters you and in which way the breath travels and where it empties out from. So very curiously observing this natural rhythm inside. Beginning to notice how the breath is fluid, moving in and out of you, clearing out rigidity and stuckness, and guiding you into openness, into expansiveness. And keeping the breath will bring our awareness through the 4 stages of the lunar cycle. So beginning by feeling the end of the exhale before the inhale, when you are totally empty. This is the new moon stage. This is our Rosh Chodesh. It's the dark moon. There's the most gravity pulling our hips, pulling our whole coarse body down to the earth. It feels very low and empty, yet full of possibilities, full of potential. So keeping your breath cycle, just linger on the end of the exhale here in this moment in your new moon phase. And from the very sliver in the dark sky of the new moon, we have the waxing moon, the growing moon. So from the end of the exhale, we begin to inhale. This is the waxing moon stage. The inhale is an inward and upward movement. So feel the breath as it lifts up your body. Your moon is rising. And on the inhale, you are growing towards your peak, your potential. You're lifting up with inspiration and energy. And then we arrive at our full moon at the top of the inhalation, where the air is totally lifted all the way up through us. Our rib cage is expanded. The collarbones are wide. The forehead is spreading. We are full of radiance. Keep breathing, but linger and pause at your full moon stage. The top of the inhalation. And notice how this moment is filled, is brimming with abundance. Almost like you're a spilling over cup. You're full of light, and naturally, effortlessly, it spills over. This is what the full moon feels like. Keep breathing, pausing at this very special, sacred moment, the fullness of you. And notice how right after the full moon peak, there's an inevitable emptying. There's a descent that happens naturally. We can't always be strong and full. That's sun mentality. The lunar mentality is when we're at our shining peak, we know that there's a release and a descent, and that is the way of the world. There's nothing to clutch or grip when we're at the top. We can gracefully fall. This is the waning moon stage, when the top of the inhale turns to the exhale, and you feel the emptying of your breath, falling gracefully, allowing yourself to empty out. And then we reach the very bottom of the exhalation once again. This is both the end of the cycle and the beginning of a whole new cycle. Continuously, not just circling, but spiraling. So every time we get to this new moon phase, it's deeper, it's more conscious, it's more wise and present. So let's take that breath cycle one more time together, and then I'll leave you to continue on your own for as long as you have. So here we go. From the new moon, we feel this open possibility that we can create a radically new you, new universe. There's nothing, it's blank slate. We're completely on empty. And then slowly, deeply fill up with breath from the low belly to the top of the belly, up into the chest, throat, all the way through the crown, a rising, waxing moon, feeling that inward and upward motion, brightening, expanding, opening, and pause at the very top, feeling your fullness, your brightness. In this moment, you are so abundant and radiant. And then inevitably the luminosity fades, feeling the emptying, releasing, the letting go, falling, falling, falling. Pause on empty, the dark moon. and continue this circle, spiraling deeper and deeper, and keep going for as long as you have to feel that life is continuous. We are never stuck. We are always growing and changing like the moon.